In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the model of the cell membrane. Model of the cell membrane. Today we'll discuss about the functions of the cell membrane. What is the functions of the cell membrane? Functions of cell membrane. First, the first important function is that it works like a gatekeeper. Why I'm calling it gatekeeper? Because each and every particle will be checked. Each and every particle will be checked by membrane, and the particle before passing will be completely checked by cell membrane. Okay, let's start that. There are two important processes by which particles move inside the cell, and we are very familiar about this process. First process, that the diffusion. Diffusion is a kind of process that we will discuss. By the process of diffusion, the particles will move inside the cells, and we have one more process, that name is osmosis. By the help of these two important processes, particles will move inside the cell and also move outside the cell. Today we will first discuss about the topic diffusion. What is diffusion? Before starting diffusion, first I would like to say about something like solution. What is solution? If I discuss about solution, solution is a mixture of solute plus solvent, and if they dissolve, they will form solution. And what is solute and solvent? If I give you example of sugar and water, when they dissolve to each other, they will form sweet water. Sweet water, which is the solution, and sugar is a kind of solute, and water is a kind of solvent. So I can simply say that solution is a mixture of solute and solvent, where solute particles and solvent particles bond to each other and form a solution. But we cannot say that soil and water is also a solution. Soil and water is also a solution. We cannot say like that. It is not a solution. This is very important. Why? Because if I dissolve soil in water, then I will not get solution. There will be no solution. Why there is no solution? Because the molecules of water will not bond with the soil, because soil doesn't have tendency to form the bond with water. So I can simply say that if I dissolve soil in water, it will not dissolve, and after some time it will deposit it at the surface of the water. But in a perfect solution, I can simply say that solute and solvent both will dissolve to each other and they will form the solution. So this is very important, that for the process of solution, the solute and solvent should form a bond to each other. That's very important. Let's discuss about the definition of diffusion. If I discuss about the definition of diffusion, then if I discuss diffusion definition, it is the movement of solute or ion particles from their higher region to lower region, from the higher region to lower region. This is the process of diffusion, in which we can simply say that it is a movement of solute or ion particles from their high region to lower region. We have some common examples of the process of diffusion. Is that first example that I will give, if somebody open the bottle of if somebody open the bottle of perfume, its smell will spread in environment. Why it's spreading in environment? Because the molecules of perfume, I simply say that if I draw the diagram of bottle, in this simply the molecules of the perfume, and simply say that this is perfume and this is environment. The molecules of the perfume is more inside the bottle and less inside the environment, so they will simply diffuse in an environment. I have another example of the process of diffusion. Is that somebody is preparing food inside the kitchen, preparation of food in kitchen, but the smell of food will spread. Smell of food will spread to the environment, spread in environment, because the particles of the smell of food is more inside the kitchen. It means kitchen having more solute as compared to the environment, that is less of solute, so smell will spread in the environment. So this is the simple example of the diffusion in our daily life. We can simply say that it is the example of diffusion in our daily life. These were the examples of our common life, but let's discuss about some scientific examples of diffusion. We have simply the example of gases exchange in aquatic animals. This is the gases exchange in aquatic animals. If I discuss about the gases exchange in aquatic animals, it's a simple phenomena. I will give the example of amoeba. We are very familiar about the amoeba. Amoeba is a shape like that, and it lives inside the water. It's living inside the water. This is water and this is amoeba. We simply say that all aquatic animals use the oxygen which is dissolved in water. So I can simply show that the aquatic oxygen like that. It means water and oxygen is bound to each other inside the water, and water is a solvent and oxygen work like solute. So I can simply say that the membrane having a body inside it, and it is amoeba, and outermost layer is an environment in which oxygen is work like a solute. Oxygen varies more in environment and where it is less in the body of the amoeba. So oxygen will start coming inside the body of amoeba, and after the process of using oxygen they will form CO2, and this CO2 will be more in the body of amoeba and will be less in the water. So CO2 will diffuse out to the environment. So this is the simple phenomena of the diffusion, in which amoeba exchange the gases through the water. In this process, I can simply say that diffusion is a kind of passive transport. Why I am calling it passive transport? Because passive transport doesn't require any energy. Doesn't require any energy. Is it that the process of diffusion doesn't require energy? If I again give you the brief about our examples, our first example is that we have the examples of perfume bottle, in which perfume will automatically come outside the bottle because of the difference in the amount of perfume, and it doesn't require any energy because diffusion is a kind of passive transport. It doesn't require energy. So we can simply say that any particles, yeah, I can simply say that any solute or ion will come inside the cell. Any solute or ion will come inside the cell. Ion will come inside the cell as well as move outside the cell with the help of diffusion, and it doesn't require any energy because it is a kind of passive transport, because passive transport doesn't require energy. So I can simply say that the molecules of solute which is more in surrounding and less inside the cell will come inside the cell, and the process will be diffusion and it doesn't require energy. So it is a kind of passive transport. Is it clear that in process of diffusion only solute or ion particles will move from their higher region to lower region? And I can simply say that suppose this is the cell, and cell will get the ions. Suppose sodium ion, I am telling sodium is more outside the cell, less inside the cell, it will come inside. Suppose like that oxygen which is more outside, less inside, will move inside by the process of diffusion, and it doesn't require energy. So I can simply say that it's a kind of passive transport. Next transport that we will discuss about that. This is the next transport. It is the next transport which is also known as the osmosis. The next process is osmosis. If I discuss about the process of osmosis, osmosis is quite different as compared to the diffusion. In the process of osmosis, first we would like to discuss about its definition. In this, movement of solvent particles from their higher region to lower region, higher region to lower region, through a semi-permeable membrane. This is a simple process of osmosis in which we can simply say that the movement of only solvent will occur. It means there is only the movement of solvent particle. There is no movement of solute or ion particle. There is only the movement of solvent particle. We can simply say that solvent particles will move from their higher region to lower region, and that membrane should be semi-permeable. Before starting semi-permeable, first I would like to discuss about the nature of the membrane. If I discuss about the nature of the membrane, first we have membrane that is impermeable. Second, there is semi-permeable, and third there is permeable. We have three kind of membrane on the basis of their nature. First, impermeable, semi-permeable, and permeable. We'll start with permeable. Permeable is a kind of membrane which allow solute and solvent both, to pass through it. And we have the example of permeable membrane, that is cell wall, and which is present inside the plant. Next is semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane is a kind of membrane which allows only solvent particles to move through it, We have the example of semi-permeable, that is cell membrane, which is the semi-permeable membrane. Next is impermeable membrane, which doesn't allow anything to pass through it. Impermeable is simply the cork membrane, the bark of the plant, which is the impermeable membrane. Then, for the process of osmosis, we require two important things. For the process of osmosis, we require two important things: that there should be water, and second, there should be semi-permeable membrane. And we can simply say that the process of osmosis will happen when outer medium and inner medium both should not be even in the amount of water. They should have difference in the amount of water. I'll give a simple example, that if water is more or less, there is the difference in the water amount in outside as compared to the inside. So there should be difference in the water amount, or I can simply say that there should be the difference between outer and inner in respect of solvent. There should be the difference in the solvent amount for the process of osmosis. First, I'll give first example of osmosis. Suppose we have a jar full of water. I'll draw the jar which is full of water, jar having water. If I put cell inside that, I'm giving cell inside the water jar, then what will happen? The water in jar, I discuss about the jar water. The water in jar is more, and the water in cell is less. If we have the example like that, if the water jar is more and the water of cell is less, then water will start coming inside the cell. And this process will be simply known as endo-osmosis, because endo word is related to inside the things, and in this process water is coming inside the cell. So this process will be simply known as endo-osmosis. Why endo-osmosis? Because water in jar is more as compared to water in cell. So water will come inside the cell till both the medium, again say that it will come till both the medium do not have even amount of water. But cell cannot hold the water as compared to the cell do not hold the water as compared to the jar. So after some time in this process of endo-osmosis, I'll again say cell will not hold the water as compared to the jar. So I can simply say that in the process of endosmosis, after some time cell will burst. Why cell is bursting? Because water will coming inside and cell will not hold the water, and after some time cell will burst. So this is the simple phenomena of the endosmosis. Second example that we have, if I put the cell in a medium having less amount of water as compared to the cell, it means cell having more water and jar having less water. In this phenomena, water is more inside the cell and water is less outside the cell. Water is more inside the cell and water is less outside the cell. In this phenomena, water will come from inside to outside, and this process is simply exosmosis. This process is simply exosmosis. And in this exosmosis, we are having that there is a scientific term that we can use in the process of exosmosis, that is plasmolysis. Why I am calling plasmolysis? Because plasma word is basically a living liquid and lysis word is used for the bursting or for the breaking of the things. It means living liquid from the cell is coming outside the cell, and this process is simply plasmolysis, and this process will happen when outside medium having less water as compared to the cell. Next process, that is, if I put the cell in which the medium and cell both having even water, and if there is no difference in the amount of water, so I can simply say that there will be no transfer of water, because both the medium having even amount of solvent. So I can simply say that in this process the process of osmosis will not happen because both of the medium having even amount of water. Next process, again if I discuss about the type of solution. If I discuss about the type of solution, first if I discuss about type of solution, in this type of solution, first, what is the solution of concentrate solution? What is concentrate solution? And what is dilute solution? We have to find out what is concentrate solution and what is dilute solution. To understand the things, I'll give some examples of the dilute and concentrate solution. Next, type of solution on the basis of osmosis. Before starting that solution, first I would like to discuss about what is concentrate and what is dilute solution. If I give you the example that it is concentrate HCl and dilute HCl. What is the difference between concentrate HCl and dilute HCl? Dilute HCl having water, because dilute HCl having water, because if I discuss about the examples of HCl concentrate and HCl dilute, they are both having HCl, but dilute HCl having amount of water. So dilute HCl as compared to the concentrate HCl, if I compare both of the HCl, dilute HCl having more amount of water and concentrate HCl having less amount of water. So every time if I discuss about the concentrate of the solution, concentration of the solution, every time I have to compare the solution with the surrounding. That I give again one example, that HCl plus 1 glass water and HCl plus 2 glass water. In this what happening? 1 glass water and 2 glass water. If I compare both of the solution, the 1 glass water will be concentrate as compared to the 2 glass water which will be dilute. So I can simply say that the concentrated solution having less amount of water, concentrated solution having less amount of water, but the dilute solution having more amount of water. So if I discuss about the process of osmosis on the basis of the solution, and if I discuss about the process of osmosis on the basis of solution, I will again change the definition of osmosis. That osmosis can be written like that: movement of solvent particles, from lower concentrate solution to higher concentrate solution through a semi-permeable membrane. This definition is also a good definition for the osmosis, because in this lower concentrate solution having more amount of water and higher concentrated solution having less amount of water, so the water will move from lower concentrated solution to higher concentrated solution. So this definition can be changed on the basis of the solvent. This definition can be written on the basis of the solution. The thing should be clear that every time water will move from their higher region to lower region, and the membrane should be semi-permeable. Next, the topic we were discussing about the type of solution on the basis of osmosis. Type of solution on the basis of osmosis. Solution on the basis of osmosis. There are three kinds of solution. First, there is hypotonic. Second, there is hypotonic. Third, there is isotonic. There is isotonic. So there is isotonic. First, hyper word always means for more. Hypo word means less, and iso word means even. Then what is the hypertonic, isotonic solution? Before starting that, I'll give you some examples of hypertonic and isotonic, and also hypotonic. That if the medium of outside the cell, I'm talking about the medium of outside the cell, if the medium of outside the cell is higher concentrate, I'm talking about the solution. If the outer solution is more concentrate than the inner solution, it means inner will be less concentrate. In this condition, according to the hypertonic, hyper means more, it means outer medium will be more concentrate than the inner medium. So I can simply say that outer solution is more concentrate and inner solution is less concentrate. And if outer solution is more concentrate, it will having less amount of water, and inside the cell the water amount will be more. So the water will come from inside to outside, and the process will be simply known as exo-osmosis. Next, hypotonic, which is the less. It means the example will be common, that in this cell will be outer medium of the cell will be less concentrate less concentrate less concentrate as compared to the inner medium. So inner medium will be more concentrate, and if outer solution is less concentrate, so the amount of water will be more and outside, and water inside cell is less. So the cell will get water from inside, cell will get water from outside, and the process will be simply known as osmosis, right? Next is isotonic. In this isotonic solution, then if I put the cell in the medium where outer medium is having even concentration as compared to the cell, it means both the medium having even concentration, so there will be no movement, and the process will be simply there will be no osmosis and no movement of water. So we have three kinds of solution: first hypertonic, second hypotonic, and third there is isotonic. All of the three are very important. Hyper means more. It means every time we have to compare the inner medium with the outer medium. If the outer medium is more concentrated, that is hypotonic. If outer medium is less concentrated, that is hypotonic, and the outer medium having even concentrated, that is the isotonic. And we have already discussed that the concentrated solution, if there is it having less amount of water, and dilute solution will having more amount of water. So today we will discuss about the process of osmosis and diffusion. And by the process of osmosis, cell will get solvent, and this is also a passive transport. So it also doesn't require energy. Again, the similar phenomena, that it doesn't require energy. Today we will discuss about the topic of osmosis diffusion, and by this process cell will get the particles as well as cell will get the solvent.